We've got the corp that wants stuff in archives and the runner that wants stuff in archives.
The battle of the mills, if you will. This is going to be fun. I was asking Jon during the interview, as you heard, how do you like your chances? And it's funny because Pacer doesn't like this matchup, and Jon doesn't like this matchup.
Which is surprising to me.
So I have no idea.
I thought for sure Jon would love it.
Yeah.
Because especially with Museum out now, like Museum, I think solves this matchup for him.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can always lose that early
of course,
noise does noise or whatnot, but I do think Museum just gives you all. It's like, to me, it's Jackson's 4 through 6 that you never had before, and if it sticks, then it's like permanent Jackson, basically, of anything that goes in, as long as you can buy yourself a turn, to me, it's going to be really impactful. There's a lot of. Noise is a great deck. I think the nice thing that Pacer's going to have going for him is that he's going to get enough time to set up the normal engine. We saw him on camera earlier where he just got run out of the building because he just couldn't go fast enough. Hostile infrastructure is a nice one. I talked about that one in the interview. Being able to have something to counter Imp will be big. We see the Hokusai grid in hand.
This is actually a really good start for
Jon. So we've got a snare in hand. Do you keep that in HQ, or do you think just bluffing that out?
I think for now he keeps it in HQ.
I like that as well. So we've got turtlebacks going.
There's the Imp, and now he just goes early and starts trashing stuff.
Got to imagine he chases after turtlebacks. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's absolutely the right call. How does he?
So I don't know if I know they've met each other earlier in the tournament. I've got to believe that he knows that the Corroder's not a relevant card here. We've seen Mother Goddess. He knows what the ice package is, right? He knows that at this point, Faust is the only thing. If you're going to play a breaker, it's the only relevant card that he's got.
I think so. Oh, we see the play again. So.
I think one of the important parts of this matchup is going to be when do you clear virus counters, right? Because Imp, you've got to take your time. Imp is a very valuable card against you. We also know that Pacer is playing Hacktivist Meeting. So Jon is going to have to find a way, if Pacer gets that early, to get some points scored and turn that off. Mushin Motion will help him potentially do that, but it always is risky when bluffing is kind of your only way to really score. So,
snare.
Face meets snare. Yeah. Nice. You know when you play industrial genomics. I mean, there's a point at which I don't even get dramatic about it because you just know between snare and shock, you're going to see it. It's just going to happen. But I do think that he's going to get some decent cards. Okay, so I don't know if they were discussing whether or not he wanted to fire it or not, but I think early game makes a whole lot of sense.
I think the question is whether or not that tempo hit's worth it against noise. I think so. Keep rolling that loaded die, Jon. There we go. Oh, he's got a pancake.
Yeah, pancake's nice. All right.
Faust, that's really good for him.
Yeah, I like both, especially to recharge the Imp. That's big with this point.
Yeah, that's actually really big because the scavenge now he can't go get the Faust back, for instance.
Yeah, so asking if he wants to trash. He's got 3 face down.
Yeah. I think that's a smart trash. With the,
using Imp to trash. I was about to say, I don't know that I'd pay that much to trash.
Yeah, I mean, Jon's got to be happy with it, but I think I also think it's the right play for Pacer because right now he can't afford to sort of let that snare stick around. He doesn't know there's, how many there are.
Yeah,
so.
I imagine Jon's got to be thinking about also setting up that diversified portfolio ultimately. The Jackson's a nice draw here, so he can start overdrawing. He's going to get Pacer to the point. I'm trying to look at Pacer's deck list. I mean, the recursion that Pacer has is limited, right? When the Most Wanted list came out, you only have so many clone chips. You only have so much ability to
3 deja vus.
Yeah, 3 deja vus. The Hacktivist Meeting to me is going to be the most impactful card in his deck. So hopefully he sees that early because once Jon gets a museum or something going, it's going to be tougher for Pacer to fight through that.
Right. And so, right now, Jon, the issue is he needs money to sort of start getting stuff going again.
Yeah,
after
wild side is
key.
Back.
So, and this is going to be good for Pacer, although it, cuts him down on a click, which can also be really important against IG.
So it draws
2
the Hokusai
grids. So one of those is going to go on HQ almost certainly.
Another turtlebacks. Okay, so now he has a Mushin in hand. So now he at least has a path to get something scored. He needs to save that, though, for when the hacktivist comes down. I imagine he will.
Probably.
I mean, he's not trying to score out points when he doesn't have to, but I think that is important for him to have a way to at least get rid of hacktivist.
Is he thinking about playing Diversified right now, or what he can drop in archives? One click. Two.
Real Diversified for 3 credits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's acceptable. It's not great, but all you need in IG is sort of that little kickoff amount of money, and then it can start snowballing.
So so discarding down. So now we're, I think, at 4 unadvanced unresed cards.
Yeah,
or
I didn't
unrevealed.
see which one he discarded from hand. Looks like he still has the Cerebral Overrider and the Fetal in hand.
All right, so there is hacktivist. So this is big.
Yeah, that's actually huge for Pacer to see it this early. Yep.
Okay, so
There you go.
plays hacktivist. Jon knows that this is a big card. And now Jon, now here's the problem, right? If you motion out this Fetal, if you're Pacer, do you just run it to assume this was a desperate response?
Look, you just motion out the Cerebral,
Exactly.
Right?
And this sets up is exactly what you want to do.
1-2 motion.
Okay.
Contract Killer, interesting.
Very interesting.
Huh. Not
Don't know that that's
really
the one
what
I
I
would have picked,
expected.
but let's see what he's trying to set up. Because part of the problem is you're going to have to play around hacktivist if you res it and trash it. So it's not something like Cerebral where when they access it, it does what it needs to do, or same with Fetal.
And so in normal matchups, you say against noise, score as fast as you can.
Right.
IG doesn't have a great way to do that.
No, that's right.
So, I mean, at this point, he hasn't played either Mother Goddess, so I think he'd be okay dropping it in front of a scoring server here. He's got to feel pretty comfortable with this because the Contract Killer now can't be.
Not trashable.
Yeah.
Got too many face down cards out there, so 5
face
total.
down.
So he's going to stay. Although at this point, with Pacer's credit count, I mean, I don't know that he's in a position where he necessarily even wants to check archives. I mean, he's got the I've had worse in hand, which makes it easier to justify.
There's the data sucker, though. Did he just drop Faust? Yeah, he did. It's both Fausts in the bin. So maybe he's not really aware of this build by Jon.
All right, so this is big. He's got he's got some. Oh wait, did we hacktivist? Okay, there we go. What do we get? I did not see what Pacer pulled out of his hand.
Neither did I.
It may have been the Fetal actually, because I don't see it there anymore.
It was. Melange, he's going to want to res that as well. So.
And yeah, this is just. I think I would have used the Mushin differently, only because you see the position he's in now, right? He's got all these great cards, but you can't just get pinged every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you either have to aggressively do it on the Cerebral Overrider and hope that he runs it.
Yeah.
Or you just have to drop the Fetal and get him to play around.
All right, so we're making the archives run.
So he's going to pop Jackson.
What are we putting back in?
Yeah, Ben makes the point that there was a second Melange we saw, so it might have been the second Melange. The Fetal might already be in the bin.
Okay.
2 face down and a snare.
All right. Anything else?
You'll find.
Anything else?
These are the 3 that are going back into my. You're not.
Okay. Well, now you got to figure out what was face down and face up.
Sorry,
No problem. These are the ones that were face up.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. They're just sorting through what's face up and face down.
You can't declare you're doing it until you're doing it.
All right, so we're shuffling up. Jon, at this point, as we mentioned, highest priority's got to be getting hacktivist off the board.
Yeah.
It's really tough to even set up the kill condition when you have to worry about ditching your entire hand in response.
Yeah.
Pacer.
Although at this point, if Pacer's not going to run into that stuff in archives,
yeah,
you maybe try and force a Ronin. Even just one Ronin to get it moving.
Now on the other side, you see the medium in hand by Pacer. I don't know how aggressive he wants to get with this, or how.
We know the Hokusai grid's down now.
Okay. Yep.
And that makes it really tough.
Yeah, and he's so low on money. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
have data sucker tokens if it matters to you. Right.
All right, so they get the data sucker sorted out. Yeah, just taking credits at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to
Yeah, the Hokusais in hand are huge.
be able to handle that.
But again, we said with Hacktivist, I mean, it's totally, in my mind, worth paying the Hacktivist cost to get that on board.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's still, you can't just
and
get
frankly,
pinged forever.
same with the museum.
Okay, so we're digging. We're going to get some cards. I like this play.
Don't want the GFI.
No, we don't.
Really don't. Not really either of those. I mean, the Ronin's okay. It's going to put the Hokusai back on top. Interesting.
Okay.
I guess at this point he knows he needs to score.
Yeah, so we're going to get that, get some money from Turtlebacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think baiting out a Psychic Field run seems pretty good right now.
Okay, so now you have 3 cards left in hand.
Yep.
Do you res the museum next turn? One of those cards is a GFI.
I don't know that I do. Now, that being said, I don't know that I think Pacer's going to run Archive, so I think I probably have time.
Yeah, to find the Jackson.
To find, or to use the museum.
Or,
yeah,
use the
I mean, I think he has time to do it. I don't know.
I guess that's a good question. If you res his museum, can he shuffle back in the card that got milled? I guess it's your turn. You choose the order, right? So.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
And then it fires. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's right. Yeah. You res, it fires.
All right, so
the res
he has
is
put
what
down the
causes the
medium,
mill.
and I think he's now.
Interesting.
Yeah, obviously he's going to see the Hokusai. I think he knows what's down there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're paying the Hacktivist cost. Let's see what we get.
Okay.
Okay, so just a Ronin.
Yeah, and I think John's okay
Nothing
to
wrong with
leave that
that.
there, honestly. He will probably put back a Mushin or a money.
Leave those, take a Mushin.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I would have expected maybe the diversified right now because you can't really afford to res more turtlebacks.
That's a fair point.
But I think, Pacer's not getting rid of that next turn,
Right.
so you've got time.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Pacer, I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. Pacer, the deck he's got in front of him is the deck he's got. This is not like what Travis was playing where you can cycle your deck 3 times.
Right.
Pacer's got to be careful with what he's got to work with, and I'm not surprised that he's looked at medium and said, the only way I'm going to get through this is by taking a chance and taking some calculated risks. So,
Right.
oh, this is big. The Mushin comes back in hand, and he's got some juicy options in hand to use it with. So what do you go for here? I think clearly putting something out would be huge here.
Yeah, I don't know. Pacer checked the first time he did it and found found an asset.
This is what I would play personally.
Yeah, I think this is the correct
'Cause I'm a jerk
play.
like that.
Well, I think this is the correct play. Like, this is the safe play. You start letting noise get any scores. So, yeah, because look, if you let Pacer score the GFI, right, then he's already on 2 points, and he's got all these cards that he's going to access with Hades.
Yeah.
That's at the end of your turn.
Okay, so Pacer's going to fire Hades at the end of his turn.
This is at 3. Let's pick up. Yeah, that's fine.
John trying to roll for cards is taking Pacer's money. 4 hits a Parasite. Pacer doesn't care about that. That's
irrelevant.
just HP. Yeah. So that was a pretty good Hades fire. Hitting 1 shock. That's it.
Yeah, that's as painless as it's ever going to get.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got Aesop's assembled.
Aesops.
So we've got a little bit more permanent source of money. Against IG, frankly, there's no way that Pacer's going to produce enough money to really fight through all these assets. You just have to pick your spots.
To be fair, Aesops is a connection, right?
This is true.
So
the
Contract
Contract
Killer's
Killer is
still sitting
live.
there. Oh, wow. Takes the GFI straight out of his hand.
All right. All right, so debating
This
whether
could
he
be
wants
really
to
bad,
make
though. If
the
he runs
HQ
HQ again and scores the GFI, he might think that John is flooded and run that triple advanced thing as well.
Could be.
I think you take back the diversified at this point. Nope, the motion. Okay. Yeah, and so Pacer didn't check it, so that's just going to sit there now, untouched.
All right, so at this point, I mean, Hacktivist has done exactly what it was intended to do.
Absolutely.
It's really slowing the pace, and John's just kind of crawling along, trying to go a card at a time. And
Yeah.
it's
It
not
looks
doing a
like
whole
John
lot.
has a lot out, but
Yeah.
it's not really helping him at all.
I mean, he's playing with the Turtlebacks in a museum at this point. And
Yeah.
granted, Pacer doesn't have a lot of money. Aesop's will help. He can start selling cash or data sucker if he wants, but it's just not going to do a whole lot. That is a nice one.
Yeah, it is. And that's one you want in hands for sure.
Yep.
Especially because now Pacer, oh, well, he checked archive, so he can't afford to trash
He
it
can't
now,
afford
so.
to trash, yeah, but having something to keep them honest is big. Oh, that's huge. Okay, so at this point, he hasn't run the last one.
Yeah.
Right? The Cerebral's still sitting there.
He probably runs the next one
You think so?
to check for the Ronin.
Okay.
Unless he thinks this is Ronin that's already out, in which case he might check this one first. I don't know.
So
I think Contract Killer's the right play here. I don't think you want Pacer.
now
to
you
keep
do
money.
have to pay a card, right, to res and trash.
Yeah,
so
but if it's GFI, like, you're honestly okay with that.
yeah, I don't disagree. I think getting that.
Presumably there's more.
One punch.
So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what they're discussing at the table, but
I think John's just trying to decide whether Contract Killer makes sense.
okay.
But he's
So it
just
just
gonna
draws
draw.
up. Well, that's a nice looking Jinteki hand if I've ever seen one, right?
So-
That's as safe as you're going to get.
So Pacer's on 6 money now.
Run the contract killer.
He's
Yeah,
going to run the Contract Killer and trash
makes a
it.
lot of sense.
But John's going to res hostile infrastructure, yeah.
Hostile.
But now he's broke.
I'll access and 3 to trash.
Now Pacer's just going to run his hand.
3 to trash. Yeah. Draw some more cards.
And so we're just getting something straightened out. So they needed to discard a card for the hostile infrastructure res. So just getting that sorted throughout. All right, so
Yeah,
we're going to
so
get a
going
discard.
back, getting
see
the
what we get.
Hacktivist discard for the hostile.
Which would have increased the trash as well. Got it.
Okay, so we pay the 1 extra because there would have been a card in the bin. So we are all squared away.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some economy going at this point, at least enough to, as Pacer did there, to once he checks to at least be able to run and have a chance to trash the impactful stuff, which
Yeah.
is going to be key. I mean, we saw Ronin earlier in hand. He's going to need to do something about
he
it.
doesn't run the advanced card.
And a hostile. And take 1 shot.
On 0 credits, yeah.
Don't grab your die. I know that.
All right, Crowder's
yeah, it's dead card.
junk card
It's
in this
just
matchup.
HP.
That's fine.
Pacer, yeah, okay, so Pacer knows what's up. He's discarding all the icebreakers. Interesting. Okay, so... I guess because he knows it's a trap.
Yeah.
He's just accepted that it's a trap. But that's scary. If it's not, what if it's a Ronin, right?
I think I would have checked on that.
Yeah, I think that's what I do there.
I don't know that I wouldn't, especially I don't know that he knows the agenda suite. What if it's a future perfect and you can, what if it's to me, if you're
Well,
on
if
if
it's
you
a
have
future
a chance,
perfect, John would have scored it.
or sorry, what if it's a Ronin? That's what I meant to say. If it's Ronin and you can potentially clear it out when you know that that's the most likely way you're going to lose,
Right.
To me that's it's worth the 1 click to know, to have certainty about it. So sealed vault, not going to do a whole lot.
It's going to get him 1 credit if he wants. Yeah.
That's fine if he just wants to put out another kind of junk remote to effectively click for a credit.
Yeah, and at this point, he's looking for diversified. Not sure how many he's running. 2 diversifieds, so...
All right, so Pacer, at this point, I mean, he's kind of committed to run HQ, and he's checked some remotes, but
Yeah.
has not looked at R&D, has that medium, knows that Hokusai is there, but has not chosen to prioritize that at all.
I think I only ran twice.
And he's at a point now where I don't know, it might make sense to wait for an imp to do that. And he may have just installed that to get another mill.
Yeah, I mean, this is how the noise mill should work against IG, right? He wants to just mill John into the place where he can't make great decisions because he can't resonate.
And at this point, with only 1 museum online, I've got to imagine that, I think Pacer's going to get to a point where he's not going to be able to mill John out, but I do think he can get to a point where now that he's got the engine online, at least of Wildside and Aesop's, he can get enough viruses to be able to mill some stuff and check relatively safely. I mean, there's still 1 shock down there, but
yeah, that's sort of been the problem, is John hasn't been able to put really any more dangerous stuff in the bin.
So Imp and Cache. I think Imp's the most important card right now in this matchup. So let's see, we get a Cache.
So I'm going to jump in here and just from our lower bracket matchups, we had Ahmed and Travis playing to stay in it. Travis passing Colby and Ahmed overcoming the hurdle of Gabe playing Sync. So they're going to meet up now for the 4th game in this tournament in the lower bracket semifinals. So we'll get that on camera next.
The rubber match has officially been confirmed
After playing in the last Score Championship as well in the cut. So
revenge.
yeah, for those of you familiar with that tennis player meme, Vitas Giroulitis or whatever, Travis has confirmed that Ahmed can beat him 3 times in a row, but maybe not 4. So we'll see that match coming up next. But let's stay on topic with this one. Ahmed incredulous that I would dare doubt his ability. Jon going to take his turn. Still activist.
It's just done exactly. I mean, and I know that's why Pacer put it in the deck.
Right.
He knew this deck's out there. He knows he needs a card, and he knows NEH is out there. And it's a very versatile card in the meta right now. It hits a lot of the best decks.
And Jon's just going to go ahead and motion out an agenda here.
And it's one thing to
really
play it
it's
against NEH where you're actively planning to score and it may not stay on the board, but against this deck, you don't want to score at all. And against a deck like this, I mean, it's going to stick for a long period of time, and you're having to force Industrial Genomics to play a game they're not accustomed to playing at this point.
Yeah, Pacer's going to run that fetal AI almost certainly. He's got a full hand. He's got 6 credits. I don't think there's he doesn't.
I think he senses the desperation, and that's probably on the earlier Mushin when he Mushined out the Contract Killer. That's exactly why I would have done it. The first time, I think you may, maybe it's something else. But to me now, it feels like a desperation Mushin.
It's just going to run a hand, though.
All right, pulls a snare. And we've got, I think, 2 face down.
Now, here's the thing, though, is if he pays for the snare, he's got 1 credit left.
Yeah.
Which means Pacer can run that.
You want to trash?
Oh, maybe Jon's not firing it.
All right, so he's debating whether he wants to trash it.
Okay, and so that was actually, I think, really smart by Jon to not pay to fire it. That's as
No
Ben
fire,
points
no
out.
trash.
Yeah, no fire on snare, no trash on snare. That's maybe a first.
All right, so the museum's been doing work, but yeah, Pacer, I think, rightly identifies that as kind of the only thing that's keeping Jon afloat at this point is being able to shuffle relevant cards back in. So I like this trash from Pacer a lot. Do it while it's relatively cheap.
Draw some cards.
Yeah, so I think at this point Pacer's got everything he needs out.
Absolutely.
As you said. You know, those data sectors aren't really doing anything. At this point, I don't think he really plays stuff other than maybe those imps. Everything else I think is just fuel for him.
It's either Aesop's food or it's just damage.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the question, right? Is it worth playing because all you're getting is 3 credits from it, or do you need to keep it for HP? Because as you can see, his deck is starting to get to that point.
Oh, we get Chairman Hero. This could be big because again, Jon has said it's a couple times it's arrived today. He said it's been a liability all day, and he is playing one of in this deck. I've seen many lists with 2. I like how he's swapped for more hostile infrastructures, but this is big. Now I will say. We know Pacer has either Deja Vu that he could bring it back, and we know he's playing a second hacktivist. So it's a question of, do you want to wait it out? Jon is pretty broke at this point, so it's not that he can instantly res all these assets, but he has this kind of narrow window on both sides where Jon can finally res some stuff that's been on the board all game, but at the same point, Pacer, how much does he prioritize wasting a Deja Vu to get a hacktivist back in play?
I don't think he can. I think he has to just use the Deja Vus just for viruses, for the mill and for the money. And Jon, I think he has a melange out, so really needs to you know, use it.
All right, now this is a good time. I'm curious, you know, he didn't install the Grimoire, so you don't get the extra imp. It's one of those where it's got to be tough, right?
Yeah.
The imp counters are very valuable in this game,
Yeah.
but I can totally understand not wanting to waste valuable money on just getting an extra one.
I can't pay for it, but still same choice.
Yep.
There's 3 cards.
Okay, and
Another no fire,
this
no
is the
trash.
this is the blank snare.
Last click.
This is goofy. Pacer thinking about running the hostile.
3 is run here.
Okay, so going to trash hostile, while it is not terribly damaging.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Hopefully he does not hit the Deja Vu. I think that would be the worst card to lose.
Grimoire
Yeah,
you're
that's
fine
fine.
with.
Deja Vus are very valuable right now, as is the imp. All right, so John just reorganizing here.
Yep.
A lot of face down cards.
Yeah, you,
Never would have imagined that you'd have this much of a board that is unresed in its entirety at this point.
okay, that's a very smart res, I think.
Yeah, that's absolutely worth going to low money on.
Yeah, because I think he still has a melange out.
All right, so we'll see a card. A shock would be nice right here.
Oh, heritage.
All right, that's fine. All right, so now John's going to even lower money to try and get
Don't
this
think it
going.
matters. I think he has melange. I think he reses it and uses it. Oh, okay, or not. Clearly, I wasn't watching.
All right, so here's another museum. That
Yeah,
could
he-
be very helpful.
He needs the museum. That's like vital right now.
Yeah, it gets Turtleback's money, and
Yeah.
I mean Pacer does have the imp. Hostile infrastructure is off the board at this point, so I mean Pacer definitely is going to go after that when he sees it.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with John forcing action. You know you're going to have to fight through imp tokens, and you just
Yeah, I mean,
you need to
this
play
is
it.
The rough part is right now John has pretty bad cards in his hand.
Yeah.
In terms of the game. You know?
The snare used to be a good card,
Yes,
so I thought,
yes.
until I watched this game and was convinced that it's not.
Yeah.
Click when I run R&D.
Interesting.
All right, so we're going to see 2.
Snare, so you want to trash it. There's nothing to do in that. Then, well, yeah.
Actually, I don't want to trash it.
You don't want to trash it.
Oh,
The untrashable blank snare, a new phenomenon, has been created.
Hokusai, I'm going to trash.
Okay, so
All right,
Hokusai gets
yeah,
trashed.
that
That's
makes
smart.
sense.
Yeah, and see, this is the point where it's like John reses museum, and he has so much stuff that he needs to get back
Yeah.
that he just doesn't have time to sort of recover.
I'll see another card
But again,
first.
All right,
again,
so running stays.
Pacer he's running low on deck at this point, so Pacer only has sort of so much fuel left in the tank.
Yeah, the Deja Vus are nice, but he does have to be very careful at this point. He's looking at that medium really hard.
I mean, I don't think it's a terrible decision.
I mean, at this point, if you're not afraid of snare, and the worst thing that's in
Yeah.
there is shock, and you can already account for 1 in archives,
Yeah.
it's not as low percentage of a move as you think.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of Pacer recognizes his deck is getting low, and so he needs to sort of press the issue.
Yeah, we got to take the counter off. Okay, I think he rightly assumes that at most point this time of the game you usually have a Grimoire out.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, I mean, gosh, a diversified portfolio would be real sweet off the top
Yeah.
for John.
Yeah, that's really what he's looking
not
for.
sure, not sure if that's in the cards for him, but that would be a huge
Well, that brings
draw.
him back into this game almost
Yeah.
instantly, except we just saw the next activist. So John needs to see it like now.
That's gross. Yeah, and you know, credit to Pacer for you got to put the card in your deck for it to have an effect, and Pacer clearly read that as a good. It's not a typical include in noise for a long time, but I think Pacer rightly saw the impact it could have in this tournament.
Man, this is really rough for John if that activist goes off. You got to put the diversified back, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's the most, when I'm looking through those, I mean, Hokusai's good, but he knows that there's, he's seen plenty of imps.
Oh, he's putting the Excalibur back.
That's
Interesting.
an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, seeing 2 mediums out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. That's a very interesting one. I mean, obviously, Pacer can't do anything about it. Faust is accounted for and out of the game, so that's not going to do anything.
Pacer's just looking through Jon's archives face up, sort of see what he's gotten through. And there's the second museum that's going to be huge as well.
Just trying to take inventory.
Yeah, see, there was a melange there the whole time. I knew I wasn't wrong. So, yeah, he's a little bit late on this. He would have liked to see this a whole lot. He would be, 14 credits up now instead of 7.
All right, so these deja vus are very valuable, but the hacktivist has got to come down this turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now that he has this money to res all these assets.
To me now,
I
where
think
you
Pacer,
need to go.
deja vus, install virus, hacktivist.
Yeah, to me, you get as many imp tokens as you can, and he's got the mediums going. If he just wants to imp anything he can't afford to trash when he starts going through R&D, I think that's a very viable way. Now the problem is, in order to steal stuff, you look at his credit count, right? You got to pay to steal Feedles. You got to pay to play side games. Jon now has money to be able to protect himself on a future perfect. So I think that Pacer is going to have to pick his timing because he can't just beat his head against R&D.
Well, and that was his last deja vu. So
yeah,
from this point on, it's what's in his hand and what's in his deck.
Yeah, we are on extremely low money. He has an Armitage. I think Armitage getting that on the board, honestly.
Not his last deja vu. His last deja vu is in hand.
Yeah.
I don't know how to count.
Getting
is hard.
Getting Armitage on board, I think, is honestly, and this is the problem, right? You have all these imps. You have good cards in your hand at this point that you really don't want to lose. The wild side's the only, I would call, dead card in that hand.
Right.
And you can't go wild with medium if you can't pay to steal any of the agendas you might find.
So, now it's decision time for Pacer. I think he's got 1 click left.
Last click, I'm got deja vu.
Okay, so. Oh, he has played the hacktivist. Good. So,
yeah,
my guess is he'll get.
Online.
Oh, I've had. What? Interesting.
I'm a little confused by that because you can't really turn off medium. Or, pardon me, you can't turn off wild side. So, this thing's going to happen.
Well, you can sell it, right? Sell to Aesop's.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I'm not sure that that's the card that I'm reaching for there.
Yeah, I guess my reasoning is Deja Vu could bring you back 2 cards to your hand, which is
and it kills
1 additional HP.
If you think of what an imp's
and if
worth
it's
here,
an imp,
an imp mills 1 and trashes 2 that you otherwise wouldn't have the money to trash.
Yeah.
To me, killing 3 of his cards is better than protecting 3 of yours that you would have drawn anyway.
Yeah, interesting play. We'll have to ask him about that afterwards. But there's the second or third museum? Second museum dropping down. That's right. I think he only runs 2. 3. No, runs 3. And he's going to motion out. Oh, no. You don't motion an agenda, do you?
I don't know.
I mean, he doesn't like the hacktivist. We get that.
I mean, it's not a fetal. It doesn't protect itself, so.
I don't think there's any way Pacer doesn't check this.
Well, he does. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. I would definitely check this.
I think if I'm going to motion that there, I think I'm just motion the snare, honestly. Or even the shock. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think he goes to check on 2. Okay.
Oh, no, he's just going to try and mill him out. So he's really just going to try and mill him faster than
All right, so
than
imps
Jon.
the neural EMP. I like that.
Yeah, that's smart. That's a win condition.
That's a shock.
Can't pay because there's too many face-down cards and nothing you can do about that. Which is going to be really helpful at protecting future medium digs, at least for the rest of this turn. Oh,
that's
an
a
imp.
really
That's big.
good hit. 3.
Motion's fine. All right.
So
Well, he lost a neural, but he kept the best 2 cards out of those 3. So.
Right. And now he has to sort of face that dilemma, like, okay, I can run back and see a billion cards.
The other factor we've not discussed is the timer you see running at the bottom, which is
yes.
we so often discount these in IG matchups, but we've got an agenda on board.
Yeah.
So Jon is in a position where
Oh, they're both on 2. Right.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay.
they've got 2, so we can get to 5 this next turn. But and we saw
I see what you're
Mushin's
saying.
2 cards down, so Jon's got a path to victory. Pacer.
Not as much.
Not as much.
And if it ends in a tie, you have the silly Netrunner rules. So, really want to be able to see this end.
I'm curious. The Pacer, he was running HQ very aggressively early on. Has not run it in a while. I'm curious. I mean, obviously you're going to see more cards with medium, but let's see. So he's going to archives.
Food, and still just the 1 shot.
All right, so up to 4 for Pacer. Finally goes for the check. And we'll take a net. Oh, wow. Keeps losing imps. That's huge.
Yeah, that's really, really good for Jon. With 2 museums out.
Now, let's see. Still has not checked this remote.
Yeah, I was going to say, so does that mean he motioned out the future perfect?
I think that's what he did.
Wow. That's just game.
So, game's on board, I think, if I remember correctly.
But I think Pacer seeing that he discarded a GFI, or did that come off of the deck?
I don't remember where it came off of. Okay, no, maybe not. He's still got it in hand.
Yeah,
so
he's
I
still
think
got
it's
the future
food.
perfect. Okay, so it's a food. Thank God. That would be heart attack inducing.
So let's see where he plays this. I mean, he's been staring at it, but yeah, just takes credit and passes. All right, so putting back in motion. I think Jon realizes the damage plan may have run out.
Yeah.
That deck is the thinnest IG deck of his I've seen all day.
Yeah, that's worrying for him. Is it
All
a
right.
diversified? Is that what I saw? No, I think a neural.
All right, so we're going to score out
Score
food.
GFI, so 5 to 4. That's close. That's
All
really
right, so
close.
Hacktivist goes away,
Yeah,
which
that's good.
potentially.
And it's done. It's gone.
I mean, he's got a fade a turn of if Pacer just goes crazy with medium, he's got a fade a turn of seeing most of the rest of his deck.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's going to work out. I've had worse is really nice here. Even just getting a few cards of extra protection.
He's got 1 future perfect in hand. So that's
I like this
how many
play
points?
for Pacer. I mean, he's just going to basically see the rest of his deck and just he's got. I've had worse.
all that's left is 2 future perfects, right?
Okay.
So they're gonna have to side game for it.
And how many credits is Pacer on at this point? I can't see it at
I
this
don't know.
point.
I'm not sure. There's the Mother Goddess that
3.
Jon would have loved to see at any point.
All that ice.
Shock.
Is nice. So all right.
You want to trash it for 2?
Okay, so we're trashing the shock. I like
Seems
that play.
good, yeah.
You're gonna go back.
That was this one, I believe. Okay. And last.
And
Ronan.
Ronan stays. Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
so
gonna
now
go
he's
back.
gonna see everything. I think, if I can do math right.
Yeah, there's still gonna be a couple of cards if
Yeah,
I can
no,
see
that's true.
correctly.
Deck looks a lot thinner than it is, I guess.
All
Just
right.
Future perfect.
We're gonna play a game.
All right. What do you bid?
I did 1.
Yeah, I think I'm saying 2 here. From Jon.
2. 1.
Okay.
There you go.
So Pacer would have won if it was me.
So that was 4 deep. 5.
Jackson, you gotta. Oh, stays. Interesting. The other Jackson. And the other future perfect. Oh, fetal. Oh, wow. I didn't realize there was another fetal.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 3 future perfects. Oh, he's running 54 cards.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew that. Math is hard, guys.
All right. So what does he get? So we get an I've had worse. That's fine.
Yeah. So,
right.
so this is it for Pacer in terms of.
All right.
So if you're Jon, do you just wipe here?
I think I don't know. This is
Oh, Pacer has one more click, doesn't he? But no money.
because this is the thing. He can sell Adjusted Chronotype. He can sell Wild Side. He can sell Imp. So he's got some money left that isn't just
Well, on
clicking
his
for
on his
credits.
turn. But like, so this turn he can't
Right.
steal future perfect.
Agreed.
So-
yeah. So that, I mean, to me, next turn it's kind of like if you still have medium counters because it was what I think 4 from the top at this point.
Yeah.
So even if he clears, I mean, he'll see it again if he wants to. But
Yeah.
how many side games can he
Right.
profitably play?
Although, is Jon about to see the Mother Goddess? I don't think so. Not right away.
So he's got 1 museum active at this point.
If Jon draws the Mother Goddess, though, that's game. And it might be 2 down, honestly. Oh, in fact, no, because Jon has 2 museums that'll fire.
But we've got Hacktivist active.
No, we don't.
Or no, we
Remember,
don't.
he scored the Future Perfect, so
sorry,
he's gonna put he's gonna put snares back, and then he's just gonna take 7 maybe.
I like this play.
Yeah, I think that's the play, honestly, because now Pacer's like, ah, crap, can I even afford to run?
All right, but we got 20 seconds on the clock.
Jon
so
drew the Future Perfect.
what are we gonna do?
Is he gonna draw again?
He's got to really manage these last few turns.
If he has a running down, I think he just advances it. Nervous.
Sleeve's not
Nerves.
cooperating.
I don't think he has a running down, though.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's just going to hit him launch.
That's going to be time. So you finish your turn. Pacer takes 1.
All right, so we're just going through the rules of going to time. Jeff, who was out there with him running our tournament, just walking through the procedures with them to make sure they know how many turns they have left.
And this is my last, like, I got more points.
Unless you die. Yeah.
All right, turn 0, acknowledge that Jon can't score.
Round and higher sequence. That's the tiebreak. So,
All right, so I think I lost.
All right, so
Man, that's too bad. I mean,
That was definitely a good one.
that's the rough part about
excellent game.
time stuff.
He was here.
Because I agree. Ben just commented. I think Jon
Yeah.
can still.
Very, very
but-
cool. So we had time to win for Pacer, decided by the higher
Yeah.
seed. I know Jeff walked.
No. He's up on points. He's 6-5.
Oh yeah, he
so.
is. Sorry.
Never got a Ronin.
You were walking through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
misheard over the camera. So
Yeah.
my bad on that. But yeah,
That's too
So-
bad. You know, if this was the grand finals, we let
Yeah.
him play it out, obviously.
Absolutely.
And this game looked like it was coming down to the
Yeah,
wire. So
fantastic game. So Pacer's going to take the win on this one.
yeah, so
That was a fun game to watch. I mean, again, lived up to everything we were
Yeah.
hoping for. Very technical, very
yeah, absolutely great play from both players. You know, Pacer never installed an icebreaker.
No, right?
So
And to me, what's amazing, Hacktivist mean the impact of one meta call.
Yeah,
that game
just-
plays out completely different
if
that
there's
card
no
doesn't
Hacktivist
hit the
meeting, yeah,
table.
absolutely.
So very impressed. Credit to Pacer for putting it in his deck.